Hello, fellow rock lovers out there. Are you ready for another rock tumbling video? Let's get started with this big pile here. Where did these rocks come from? If you watch my videos, you know I do a series called the Great Kendra Scott Rock-Off. These are my entries in many of those episodes. So I thought, now that they've been cut, let's see how well these, mostly West Texas agates will tumble and polish. I found all of these out there near Alpine in West Texas, probably on the Coconut 06 Ranch, where they're just agates everywhere. Biscuits, like this one here's obviously a biscuit that's been cut in half. There are also, pieces of, that looks like, a mossy agate there. Look at that, with that banding. Can you imagine what this one's going to look like once it gets ground down smoothly in the coarse grit? Well, here's the other half. So the nice thing is every rock you see here will have two halves that can go together. Maybe when this is all finished, I will try to match them up, but don't count on that. That's a lot of extra work. So how well are all of these going to tumble and polish? I have done several of these rock-off, rock tumbling videos before, and usually the results are very nice. Some of these should be little stunners once they get tumbled smoothly and polished brightly. Let's find out if we have any stunners in this batch. What I'll do is I get all of these in a 12-pound barrel. I'll get them rolling in the coarse grit, and I'll keep them rolling as long as it takes. Ooh, look at that one. To make these really smooth, or I should say smoother. Here's an example of a rock that will no doubt break along that fracture in the coarse grit, and I may not ever get it perfectly smooth. As you can see, there are lots of little voids and pits and other surface features that are just nearly impossible to grind down unless I make these all very small, which I don't want to do. So I will get these ground down to where they are smooth enough to take a great polish, and then I'll get them shiny. Once they're finished in the coarse stage, I'll bring all of these back in here, and I'll show you what they look like before moving them onto the polishing stages in the vibratory tumbler. It has taken a couple of months, but our rock-off rocks are finally ready for the polishing. Now, how did they turn out in the coarse grit? This one, it's just a big old chunk of chalcedony, not too interesting. Here's the other half. Maybe a little banding will come through. We'll see. What else we have in here? These are always fun. They don't look like much now, but trust me, once we get a shine on this, oh sure, this should be good looking. Don't go to sleep on these rocks. Once they get shined up, yeah, right there you can start to see some sagenitic effects. They are sure to please. Ooh, remember these from the beginning? Yeah. Nicely rounded now. Oh, all that mossy lusciousness right there. Ooh, I cannot wait to see that one finished. What's this odd looking one here? Ooh, that should be nice. What else we got? What's this one here? Ooh, a moss agate there. Sure, I remember this cut. I remember that rock-off actually. I think that one won. Who knows? We have a couple of these. Ooh, there's some banding in that one. That ought to be pretty, right? Well, let's hope that all of these are beautiful once this is finished. Hey, look, there's the match there. As I said earlier, we should have matches for all these. So that would have been the rock right there, cut open. Will this one shine up nicely in the vibratory tumbler? We are going to find out. Let me go ahead and get all of these in the vibratory tumbler. I'll go for about 12 days. I'll use 4 different grits, and once I'm finished with that final polishing stage, I'll bring all these back in here, and we'll take a closer look at them. Check it out, the polishing is all finished. These rock-off rocks are finally done. And did we get some good ones? This is gonna be a longer video, my friends, because we got lots of good ones. Let me show you what I mean. I'll try to match these up whenever possible. This, of course, is the big old biscuit that got tumbled and polished. Now that it has a shine on it, it looks pretty good, even with all those odd looking pits. Not a whole lot on the inside of this one. Maybe a little bit. There's some banding. You can see it in there. Sure. Great shine. Good way to start the video. Here's the one that belongs in the category rocks that should probably never be thrown in a tumbler, but I've never been one to follow the rules and I threw it in anyway. So how did it turn out? Let's look at this side first. Well, the colors are nice. Once we ground down that shell, it revealed some nice colors, sure. Weird little crystal pocket there. And then the other half, well, pretty much the same thing. Didn't take a great shine. Still lots of fun though, because you just never know. I have to admit, I cannot find the match for all of these. This is a good example of one here. It's a beautiful tumble. Look at the shine on it. And then you see the banding on the inside. It's that brown and light blue. Yeah. And look at the very tip here. I just noticed that. You see that right there? Wow, there's banding in there. I just literally saw that for the first time. I wish I could find the other half of this one. I believe these two went together. This would have been a very small rock in the rock-off competition. However, just because it's small doesn't mean that it's not really cool. You see, this one has the sagenitic stuff going on in there. And I find that very pretty. I'm a huge fan of the sagenite. So although this is small, these still pack a punch. I definitely remember cutting this one in the rock-off, and I'm pretty sure it won. Yeah. Let's start with this side here, which has the big spall on it. You can see it's that beautiful golden mossiness. Yep. Very, very common out there in West Texas. This other half is a stunner because it's a much better tumble. Whoops, sorry about that. And it offers some amazing mossiness. See that? Oh yeah, that's really pretty right there. Definitely has that undersea look to it. Where'd the other one go? Oh well, you saw it earlier. Somehow these two went together at one time, but don't get me lying, I couldn't begin to tell you. And this rock makes me realize I should have thrown all of these in the ultrasonic cleaner because I can see that there's a little bit of that polish left in there. You see that? That bugs me. Doggone it. Sorry about that. I normally try to make sure that stuff is gone before I show you these. Look at the pattern in this rock. Isn't that beautiful? This is another one I remember cutting in the rock-off, and I'm also sure that this one won as well. How can you not love those patterns in there? Those colors. See, there's some green right there. You see the green, the yellow, the red? Yeah, even though it's a little dirty right now with the leftover slurry, still a good-looking rock. Another solo rock for you to enjoy. This one has the waterline banding in it. Let's see, I think we can see it on this side. Yes. Yeah, you can see it right there. Sort of goes away when I tilt it back. Look at that's interesting. Look at that. There it is, and there it goes. Aren't rocks amazing? I don't know, maybe these two went together, maybe not. I can't really tell. They sort of have the same color palette, although this one on the left, as you can see, has some interesting, well, let's call it banding there in the middle. Yeah, and this one, not so much. So maybe these didn't go together. Heck, I don't know. They all start to look alike once they get ground down like this. Okay, I'm sure that this was one biscuit at one time that got cut in half for the rock-off, and it would have been a rather plain contestant. I'm not a huge fan of this particular design where you have mostly quartz and a little bit of chalcedony along the edge. But once it gets tumbled and shined like this, it's really nice. I must say, I'm not so unhappy with it now. Here's a plain chunk of chalcedony that made it into the contest, got cut and probably lost. The only reason I'm showing you this one is because you see that little piece of ceramic down in there? I never could get that out. That got stuck in there during the vibratory tumbling process, and I tried with all my might to get it out of there, but to no avail. There's a complete passageway between there and there. In other words, I could put water in here and it shoots out there. But doggone it, I just could not get that little piece of ceramic media out of there. Here's another orphan. This one's similar to one we saw earlier with the chalcedony and the quartz. What I like about this one, though, is its shape on the outside. I can imagine what this looked like before we started tumbling it. It was a biscuit that had a couple of different humps on it. And then after a few weeks of coarse grit tumbling, this is what we ended up with. Some of the rocks that we find out there are not just pure agates. Look at this little one here. I remember cutting this one and not sure what to make of it. It's got some agate-ness to it, or should I say opaliness. It's interesting, but don't really know what it is. It's not translucent at all, that's for sure. But I think it has an interesting pattern on it. Hopefully that's coming through. Yeah, you can kind of see it there. This small one, no doubt, was one at one time and probably did okay during the rock-off because once it got cut open, it revealed, well, there, a little bit of banding and some mossiness. That's a good combination. This side also, and included is a little tiny crystal bug right there. So a small one for the contest, but one that has a lot to offer anyway. I wish I could find the other half of this one. This one I remember cutting. It has those eyelashes and some great color in it. You see that right there? This turned out very nice, albeit very small. And I cannot, for the life of me, find the other half of this, which you would think would be easy with that color, but do you see it? I sure don't. I cannot let one of these videos go by without showing you one of these West Texas golden mossy agates. There you go. This little one here got cut open, and that's what we saw. Very pretty stuff, and so common out there. All right, here we go. Another orphan rock. Don't worry, I've got a lot of the matched ones coming up here to end this video, but this one I thought was really pretty. It has lots of quartz in it and some chalcedony. Yeah, pretty colors in there. Look at that red at the tip right there. I like that. I wish I could find the other half of this one. Okay, this is the last orphan one I will show you. This obviously broke off a bigger one. I wish I could find it because look at the banding inside this little guy here. This is an awesome little banded agate. I swear I don't know what happened to the rest of it, but ooh, can you imagine what it must have looked like? Or maybe this was it. This was the only banded part of that agate and tried to break off and escape. From now on, I promise you, I'm just going to show you these cut halves. Here's one that is not too interesting. Good shine as usual with these agates. What I like about it, once it got cut open, is you see one side had more going for it than the other side. Although, that's kind of fun too. Which of these tips do you like better? Actually, this one on the left now, I'm liking more and more. It reminds me of a stingray or something. Otherwise, they're just dark, slick chalcedony. I told you at the beginning, these can be a lot of fun to tumble. These biscuits like this that are like this on the inside. Now, why do I say that? It's because when you look very closely, you can usually find something interesting. Although now that I'm looking at this, well, it's not super interesting, is it? Doggone it. This one may be the exception that proves the rule. Let's see. Maybe the other half will save this one. Let's see. Has a rather coarse surface to it there. Anything good, though? What are we seeing? Maybe this one is just not as good as I thought it was going to be. Yeah, even the quartz is rather humdrum, not great. Oh well, this one is just average. We are down to our final four. I'm calling this one the fourth best. Now look at this one. You remember this one from earlier. We pointed this one out before, and you're probably asking yourself, how can that one possibly be the fourth best? Because it's a stunner, and you're right. Let's look at this one more closely here. Oh yeah, it's a beautiful moss agate, which has, as you can see, that yellowish chalcedony right there with some banding. Oh my, and this is the fourth best? Gosh, maybe I spoke too soon on that. Let's see the other half. Ooh, wow. I may have to rethink my judgment here. This one's pretty special, although the tumble's not great there. This though is wow. Believe it or not, I'm calling this one the third best. Earlier I showed you one of these dark biscuits that I thought was going to be nice, and it turned out to be, well, a dud. This one I don't think is a dud. Let's start with this half here. Now when you look closely, you can start to see the details that, well, at least to my eye, I find are really beautiful. If you look closely, you can see the sagenitic sprays in there. You can see how it's translucent. Oh yeah, fun stuff. Let's look at this one here. Turn it slowly here, try to capture all this beautiful, beautiful nature. Yeah. And together, well, I'm saying that this one is the third best, or the bronze medal winner of the batch. The silver medal goes to this one here. I know it looks just kind of plain, right? Plain with a great shine. But when you look at these up close, let's see if I can do this without dropping these. They are very slick. You can start to see, well, the reflection's kind of screwing with this here, but we can see the banding in there. Some inclusions right there. Yeah, and some, well, something going on there. Look at that little eyeball just looking back at us right there between those two reflections. Or a tadpole. Yeah, let's call that a tadpole. And now for this half here, well, it's getting sweaty fingerprints on it. Ooh, now this is the money shot here. Let's see if I can capture this just right. There you can see that beautiful banding in the chalcedony. Even this rough area here takes a beautiful look when it gets tumbled up like that. So I'm calling this one the second best of the batch. I wish I could hold it without dropping it. There. Second best of the batch. Now for the gold medal winner, the best of the batch. And I know you're saying to yourself, why in the heck would he pick this rock to be the best of the batch? Because Scott doesn't like quartz, and as you can see, there's a lot of quartz in this one. But also notice that there's some other interesting stuff right there that comes through after the coarse grit stage. Well, this half is not the reason that I picked this one to be best of the batch. This half is the reason. You're going, okay, all right. More quartz, right? Well, what's so special about that? Let me show you why this is the best of the batch. Look at the pluming that's going on inside of this one. Turned out this was a plume agate. Now, we had no idea from the outside looking in that that's what we were going to find. Only after several weeks of coarse grit grinding did all of that luscious pluming get revealed. Don't those look like trees in the Pacific Northwest, or actually maybe in New England because they show fall colors? Wow. Anyway, I saw that pluming right there, and to my eye, that's just gorgeous stuff. And it was such a surprise to find it that I had to call this one the best of the batch. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I sure appreciate it. I think we found some good ones here, and isn't it amazing the transformation that these rocks take? All it really involves is, well, coarse grit tumbling to get them to the shape that you like, and then cross your fingers and hope that in that process, some amazing details get revealed. After that, it's really just a simple matter of putting a shine on them. Well, once again, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. And if you like videos like this, please check my playlist. I've got lots more of these rock tumbling videos for you to enjoy.